All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Happy 1 Million Cups Wednesday. My name is Tyler DeMars. I'm with CTB at the Idea Center. I'll be your MC this morning. We're very excited. We're hoping this is our last full virtual 1 Million Cups. And we're excited to have Veronica Michael with Prairie Products out of Fargo with us this morning. Before we introduce her, just a few house cleaning items. First, for those that are familiar with the program, of course, we always ask that you check in on the 1 Million Cups app. You can find it on your Google Play Store or at your Apple Store. If you're new to 1 Million Cups, this is your first time here, we ask that you download the app and check in. This gives us some data to use in improving the program and helps us report some numbers back to the Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City, who's the spearheading organization for 1 Million Cups nationwide. So we'd really appreciate it if you would download and check in that app. It's also a really nice tool for you to stay in the loop on comings and goings with our 1 Million Cups chapter, finding out which speakers are coming up next and what our calendar looks like. So appreciate if you do that. Also, we do have some sponsors that we need to thank every week, and we are very grateful for. These are organizations in our community that are supporting our 1 Million Cups chapter, supporting the entrepreneurs, the makers, the doers, the risk takers, and the community that support them. They see value in us coming together every week to talk about new ideas and support those trying to get new ideas off the ground. And we're incredibly grateful for their support. So if you know anybody from these organizations, please give them a big thank you from us at 1 Million Cups. So next, what is 1 Million Cups? Why do we do this every week? So 1 Million Cups is a free educational and networking weekly event where we're finding people doing cool stuff. It's a technical term. They're doing cool stuff, trying to get business off the ground, trying to start stuff, taking risks. And what we want to do is give them a platform to tell their story, talk about the opportunity they're pursuing and what their biggest challenges are. Ultimately, our goal is to help them refine their idea and, more importantly, make connections for them. We think connection is a big part of what makes entrepreneurs successful. And we want to give the entrepreneurs and the people trying to drive value into their businesses and into our communities the best chance of success. So we're here every week. If you're new to the program, please follow our Facebook page, 1 Million Cups Bismarck and Mandan. That's the easiest way and best way to stay in the loop on what's happening with our 1 Million Cups chapter here in Bismarck and Mandan. So just a couple more items here. One, we do have our speaker for next week with us this morning. Scott McCarthy has started a website called yourdakota.com. He's just going to give a quick explanation, and then we're going to dive deeper with him next week on our 1 Million Cup stage in Bismarck here. So let's give a warm virtual 1 Million Cups welcome to Scott McCarthy here.
All right, thanks, Tyler. And thank you for the 1 Million Cups community for letting me crash your party here for a minute. As Tyler mentioned, I'm here to announce the launch of a new website, yourdakota.com. Your Dakota is created to help people get the information they need to confidently go out and shop and dine in town in the age of COVID-19. One of the things we noticed was when businesses started shutting down or changing how they operated, there was, let's say, some hesitance in the community to figure out how that was going to work. You know, maybe people weren't going to the restaurants as much because they didn't know how curbside was working, and we thought that was really hurting local businesses. And even then, once businesses started opening up a little bit, you know, some opened up, some did not, and it wasn't really a good centralized area to get that information. So I know me personally, I lined up some coffee meetings, pull up to the coffee shop, find out doors are closed, and have to drive around the next one. Next thing you know, half an hour your meeting's gone as you're driving around town trying to find a place that's open. And so, again, we thought that was really hurting local businesses because I know, again, even myself, thinking, well, I'll just stay home. And so that got us thinking, how can we get this information out to the community in a way where you don't have to go to every single business you may want to do business with individually, say, are they open? No. Are they open? No. Are they open? Sure. We want to centralize that information. So we created yourdakota.com. Yourdakota.com is an enhanced business directory that allows you to search for places you want to go by category, restaurant, retail, whatever it may be. And also filter things by, can I do curbside pickup? Is the lobby open? Are their hours of operation changed? What sanitation measures are they doing to keep us safe? Do you have to wear a mask if you go inside? Do you not have to wear a mask? Just get that information, and so that way you can determine where you want to go, how you want to go before you go out driving around and get disappointed when you get to your location. And we really do feel this is going to help the people in the community make good decisions and get that confidence to go back out in the community and start doing business again, which is good for everybody. As Tyler said, next week we are doing our presentation. We'll go more into the website and exactly, you know, hopefully share some screens. And in the meantime, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is go check out the website. Again, it's yourdakota.com. play around. If you own or run a business, claim your business listing, share it with friends. Give us some comments. There's a contact us feed in there. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you see anything. And then be prepared to come next week with some questions to put us in the spot we're on stage. We do need the community's help in this. The only way it's going to really help the community is if there's good information. And so we're really asking to make sure we can get the word out and businesses can claim their listing or add their listing and update the information I just talked about. The only way this is really going to work. And so please share that information. And the best part is it's free to add your business. It is free to list, free to view, no ads, easy to create an account. You can create an account for free with us, or you can log in using Facebook or your Google account. We're really trying to make this as easy as possible to make sure we can kind of get our economy back rolling. Again, that's why we're doing this. So again, please check out yourdakota.com. And I look forward to seeing you all guys in person next week.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Tyler.
Looking forward to digging into that deeper next week with you, and appreciate you taking some time with us this morning to introduce the concept. So yeah, just one more community announcement. We've been talking about the census that's still ongoing. Still want to encourage all of our community members to participate in the census. The reason this is important is the more data the more people that are represented in the census data from our community, the more equitable allocation of important funding and programs we get related to school funding, first response services, and services for those most in need in our community. So really encourage you to get on census.gov and fill out your census information so that our community can be represented well in that government data. So I think last thing I have to say is just Veronica is going to talk to us about Prairie Products here for 10 minutes or so, and then we'll get into a Q&A. As always in our virtual events, on our Facebook feed, you can ask questions, and we'll try to get as many of those answered as possible. We're also live streaming on Twitter this morning, so you can use the hashtag 1MCND to ask questions on Twitter as well. So without further ado, I'll introduce Veronica Michael. Veronica Michael is the CEO and Director of Sales of Prairie Products in Fargo. Prairie Products is a CBD company, a company providing premium CBD products to retail, wholesale, and agricultural markets. So with that, let's give a warm virtual 1 Million Cups welcome to Veronica Michael.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me today, Tyler. I really appreciate it. It's exciting to be here and exciting to be in Bismarck. Virtually, though, I'm actually, of course, here in Fargo, and I'm at my colleague Heather's place, who is right off the screen, and I can't not introduce her because she's a critical part of our team. So this is Heather.
Hi, everybody.
I'm
going to be off the screen again.
Perfect. But wanted to have her say hello. Heather does great work for us as our project manager and really putting documents and presentations like this together so that we can talk with people regionally, investors, and others. So I'm super grateful for her and grateful to be here. Also, it was fantastic to hear what Scott McCarthy had to say about his new project. I look forward to hearing more about him and his project next week. That just sounds fascinating and a great service for our community and region. So I'm Veronica Michael, and I'm with Prairie Products, and we are an LLC in Fargo that does cold ethanol extraction of agricultural hemp. Our mission is to work in the agricultural hemp space and to make agricultural hemp a viable commodity for farmers in our region. So we got started really as a group of us really thinking about what would the future look like if the Farm Bill would pass and agricultural hemp would be a possibility for us to work in. We started really thinking about what ways and what areas could we join the marketplace with. In 2018, we really came to the place where we decided that extraction of hemp would be a very viable possibility in North Dakota. We have some conditions here that are really ideal for growing. And if we could have a processing facility here, we would be able to capture the good work of our farmers, the fantastic soil that we have here that in the 1930s, agricultural hemp, not for CBD, but for fiber, was grown quite a bit in the valley. So we started working towards what would it look like if that could change and we could be here to gain that agricultural extraction market. So who we are is, like I mentioned, a group of investors first that came together and really worked hard to think about hemp. Now, one of the things that I find fascinating about being an entrepreneur in my career really started in higher education. I worked for about 15 plus years in that, and then I did a lot of work in nonprofit work. So working with people and projects all the time. But working in an entrepreneurial team, one thing that I've really recognized is that seats change. As you're running towards your goal, you're really making changes in your team and how you do your project. Why I think that's important is when we started, Tom and I really took some control of the ship. Tom was our CFO and COO and really helped us build our shop, really kind of work towards finding our processes and perfection towards how do we do our extraction, how do we detail how we do that extraction and replicate that time and time again. Since March, Tom has actually been working at leaving the company and separating from us. So I have Heather there twice, and that's because she's double as good. So she is in constantly changing roles, which again, I think many of you as entrepreneurs can relate to. You wear many, many hats all the time. So as we're working with Tom to transition out of his role, Heather and I have taken on both sales and project management, as well as some operations and other financial functions for the company. We do, though, have a production team that works with us, and Mackenzie is our production manager, and then she has a couple of assistants that actually do the work with our hemp and with our cold ethanol extraction process. So, everyone has a why. Why are we here? Why do we think that we have taken this risk to be the first extractors in North Dakota, waiting for a market where more farmers grow hemp for CBD? We believe that CBD hemp presents a huge opportunity for farmers locally. We think that either if you want to look at producing CBD hemp outdoor or indoor, this is a commodity that has an opportunity to diversify the farm. I grew up in Climax, Minnesota. We're in definitely sugar beet country. And as sugar beets have changed the landscape of farming in the valley, we all recognize and know that there is opportunity for small farmers or farmers that still have a little bit of land to do a grow in hemp that might yield some really great opportunities, but take a much smaller footprint. So our team is dedicated to hemp. We have always been for hemp. That has been our focus because we believe that can really transform our region. So entrepreneurship, though, besides working hard on your project, being an entrepreneur is like a crazy road trip with like monkeys at the wheel and little gas. We have, like everyone else, had the highs of raising capital for our project. For us, we started at a time when what we wanted to do was actually not a legal, viable option yet. We knew and sat in wait for that farm bill to change. So raising capital in such uncertainty meant huge risk, and really being open about that risk and what kind of shifts might be needed ahead to get to that goal, which was quite elusive. Another high, though, is working with North Dakota and Red River Valley farmers who wanted to jump in and try growing this product. And, for our farmers that we've worked with this year, they have grown a beautiful product, but they did the work by hand. One farmer talked about it. It was large-scale gardening, not farming. Getting the chance to work with the incredible team I do work with at Prairie Products, although we've had changes, staff has left, we've had to make transitions, people have been in the right fit and people have not been the right fit, but all of that means having the opportunity to work with a really incredible team. Getting the chance to serve North Dakota farmers and their communities with something different in this as a commodity has been unbelievable. Some of the lows, they're really waiting for CBD hemp to be legalized. Worrying and waiting, is this good idea we have going to be possible here in the Valley? When the bill passed, the Farm Bill allowing the processing of agricultural hemp in December of 2018, it was an unbelievable day. Another low, though, is the oversaturated markets. Getting into a new commodity means a commodity that doesn't have really a set point yet. We've seen that market be very turbulent in hemp since we began our project, and really have seen some market highs, but definitely are seeing some market lows right now. Also, waiting for final USDA and FDA regulations is a huge thing for us. We did take the big step of getting registered with the FDA in February for the shop. We want to do extraction better. We think that we can, but we still are in a market that's not regulated. So for us, the timeline has been hugely important. We're able to actually do what we want to do in December of 2018. We begin scouting our space and producing our first extract in May. Actually, production is in June. We move in May of 19. And now we're really hitting our stride in we know how to make our product really well. We found partners to turn some of our product into a distillate. And we did something even new. We decided to start with some retail products. We think that it's important for our farmers that people in the region understand how to consume CBD, that it's safe, that it's legal, and that it's a viable option to improve your health and the quality of your life. Prairie Products has also really sought out GMP certification, as well as our FDA that I mentioned. These are big things for us. So our business, what do we do? How do we do it? What the heck is extraction? So we are a cold ethanol extraction company that creates a variety of products. But the most important thing to know is we use cold ethanol to make our extract out of agricultural hemp we're sourcing from here in the region, and then also one farm group we work with in Bend, Oregon. So we're making a crude. We can turn that crude into a distillate, and finally that distillate can be turned into an isolate and a variety of products. Now, many of us have heard about the cannabinoids because of Charlotte's Web. That we know, and we found out in the early 90s that the cannabinoids can be beneficial in reducing seizures in a child that was having a lot of seizures. That really changed our thinking about the cannabinoids and helped people start using them to reduce anxiety or reduce their pain, or use it as an anti-inflammatory, a stress reduction. So as we are really new in the market of the cannabinoids and agricultural hemp, we have lots of research to do, but I am confident that we're going to see a lot of great application for the human body and beyond. So what we do is we do either toll processing or split processing. What that means is that we're either working with farmers to go into a contract where we're splitting somehow our final product with them, and those funds raised from that, really that capital, or we're processing at a fee. The products that we make, like I mentioned, are really a full spectrum crude oil. That is a winterized, decarboxylated product. I'm not going to get too into that, but what I do want to mention is that we work hard, and we have a wonderful group regionally called Adams Independent Testing, where we are always testing hemp along with our farmers for pesticides, heavy metals, mycotoxins, etc. We believe this is a consumable product, and we really want to make sure that it's safe for the body. So a little bit more about CBD. So you hear a lot about CBD in our media right now. You see it all over. And I think as a consumer, it's hard to understand what is this and how should I take it? How is it defined? So products that are defined as broad spectrum really contain terpenes and other cannabinoids that are like the whole spectrum of the cannabinoid. How I kind of explain this is, if you think about how you take a B vitamin, you don't just take like B6. You always take it in a complex, because that complex, it improves how the body absorbs B and how that efficacy happens. The same can actually happen with the cannabinoids. Now, distillate is actually a refined form of that broad spectrum crude. So you're refining it even more. Now, full spectrum crude also has the terpenes, the cannabinoids, but it also takes out something. It takes out some of that THC. So it really gives you a product that you can get some of the benefits of the cannabinoids, but have absolutely no THC. Why that's important is the Farm Bill made it legal for us to have, farmers and us, to have 0.3% THC present in the agricultural hemp that we're utilizing. Now, I think it's hard to think about that. Like, what does that mean? But just to keep in mind, that kind of THC is much lower, actually significantly lower than maybe someone who wants to consume a product for THC. They might be looking for a product that's between 15 and 24% THC. So the last place is the isolate. The isolate is a very, very refined form of the product. Another thing that's important to me, though, and important to Prairie Products and our farmers are terpenes. Terpenes are present in pretty much all botanicals, but they have a lot of different efficacies for the body. We know through essential oils that smell can really change our mood. It can improve the quality of our lung capacity. Terpenes are very similar in thinking like that. So our goal is to partner with long-term networks in North Dakota that are raising a really high quality plant. Like I mentioned, because we started in June of 2019 doing our processing, we did work with some material outside of the valley as our farmers were growing for the first time. But we know that healthy grower relationships can really lead to consistent, high potency, and beautifully grown products that can make beautiful CBD products for us. So I do want you to check us out at www.prairieproductsnd.com. We have a variety of products that we've put out to really show off what is possible when it comes to the cannabinoids and you consuming them. Everything from a couple new tinctures that we're going to have out to tinctures that can help with sleep, some chewable tablets. I hope you'll take some time to really think about our products and think about just taking a peek into current CBD research. I'm just sharing a really simple screen right now because I think I'm at the end of my time. But I want you to know that there is so much to know about the cannabinoids and how the endocannabinoid system works. And I hope you'll take an opportunity to really check that out. Why that is that CBD and agricultural hemp production is a great opportunity for North Dakota farmers. It is really an opportunity for us to increase more commodities that are beneficial for the farm, more options for both in and outdoor grow. And remember, indoor grow in North Dakota can mean a lot of cycles in our long winter for a farmer who's able to take on the infrastructure to do that. We also want to educate our region on hemp and CBD beneficial impacts, and we want to increase revenue, of course, for us and our investors. We think that North Dakota is a wonderful place for us to be doing business. And I really appreciate your time today. And I'm here for questions.
Thank you so much, Veronica. That was there's a lot to unpack there. There's so much involved in what Prairie Products does and how much you've accomplished in the short 2+ years that you've been working on this. First question I have is your kind of mission and goal is supply chain facing, right? So when you talk about your mission and your goal, you're talking about we want to be a partner for egg producers in North Dakota. I want to unpack a little bit of that, but first, so I'm assuming that's because there's such a strong market for CBD. Is it that you can sell this product, or you have retail customers and wholesale outlets for your products, but your biggest challenge is supply and supply chain? Or can you speak into that a little bit? Yeah,
and actually, I'm glad you asked that question because I think that one of our biggest challenges right now is actually relationships. Like, many new commodities, we have a system and a network in North Dakota where we're used to bringing in new buyers for, let's say, our potato industry or new buyers for soybeans. I think us and our farmers in hemp need that same support through our traditional marketplaces, because although we are able to produce a very high quality product that we know is not only made here in North Dakota, but made in the USA, it is tested, it complies to what we know we want as a consumable, we are still struggling to find markets to sell our oil. Because for me personally, I think because we lack those relationships. When we entered the marketplace in hemp, a lot of companies were merging into much more vertical operations, meaning they own the farm, they own the extractor, the bottler, the formulator, etc. That is okay. That's a model for some people, and that's a model that works in some areas. But we also know that there's an opportunity for smaller extractors like us that are producing a high quality, what I would say almost craft product, to find more buyers who want to care about, pesticides, heavy metals, not just being organic, because we're not. We're not an organic facility. Actually, there's a facility in Hillsborough, North Dakota that is moving towards organic production of agricultural hemp, and they're going to be they use a CO2 extraction method. But we can have a safe product, but we need to find more buyers, and that is definitely a challenge.
Okay, so actually, we have a question coming in from Callan Cermak. So a question, and this is there a minimum number of acres of hemp that makes it financially viable for a grower?
That's a great question. So when a lot of people jumped in, they jumped in thinking, I'm going to grow 10 to 50 acres of hemp. No. Growing hemp for CBD, I think jumping in at 1 acre is a great idea because of how much you have to put hands on the plant. You're walking your fields, you're making sure the plant isn't changing its sex. You're really, when it comes to harvest, many farmers that started weren't able just to buy the equipment needed to do the harvest, right? So they were either using equipment where they could make adaptations. Let's say they had an onion planter that they had used to plant their starts, or they were now using a chainsaw and a machete to cut down their, the product in the field. Farmers needed to make adaptations, and I think starting small was very beneficial. So my recommendation is starting at that acre, a couple of acres, and making sure that that's financially viable for you, because right now, what we know is the market is changing. So even when we started our project, our crude extract was at $1,400 approximately a kilo. And right now, that's about $250 to $500. Now, that's a huge change for a farmer's expectations of what their product is going to go to market at. So having a smaller footprint means you're still taking a huge risk, but you're taking a much more measured risk, and you're able to take on that fluctuation in the marketplace.
Gotcha. Another question here coming in from Facebook from Lily Hanks. How do you keep the THC levels low enough to be classified as hemp? What happens if it's over that amount, and how can farmers protect themselves from that?
Yeah, that is a great question. So the first way that farmers can protect themselves is by working with reputable seed producers. Finding a producer that you can not only buy your seed from, but also they're going to step with you through this process of growth for the first time and some challenges that you might have in either starting that. Now, I have seen companies that have said, you can have this amount of potency of CBD, and I don't believe it, because I don't believe that won't also increase the THC potency. The second thing is for farmers to be really diligent. Why I talked about those small plots is there are expectations by the state when all of us get our license here in North Dakota for farmers to test in the field during a few different times of the plant's growth. That's to ensure that that plant is actually remaining in that viable, that legal THC area. So with North Dakota, with our license and with our Department of Agriculture, farmers are already working towards doing some field testing to make sure that that plant stays in compliance. Now, if that doesn't stay in compliance, that means the farmer has to destroy that product. All of us in our applications to the state have a plan that we've written if we go outside of compliance. So that's something that we already join in the state with, having that information available. But the first way to make sure that you're THC compliant is to buy reputable seed. The second way is to work with a group, hopefully your seed provider, that will help you grow your product best. And then that third thing is complying to the state's testing standards and testing at those critical moments during production.
Gotcha. Great. How, from the consumer's perspective, Veronica, I'm curious, for somebody that either is using CBD or wants to try it, what should they be looking for to feel confident that it is a high quality product? In terms of, I'm going to butcher this, cannabinoid. Is that how you say it?
Cannabinoid, yeah.
Cannabinoid content, and then free of toxins and other things as well. What should consumers be looking for when they're buying products retail?
Okay, great question. So the first thing is always to think about, why do you want the product? People sometimes are like, I have a need that always hurts me, or I have some feelings of anxiety, or I am, maybe struggling with getting to sleep. So first off, it's really making sure that you're identifying, what am I looking for this product to do. So once you find that, I think for many people, it's then looking for, that trusted product, seeing on the label, do they list anything about testing? How are they listing what's in the bottle, and where is this made? For us, we took the chance, and not the chance, I should say, we took the choice to become a Pride of Dakota product because we wanted people regionally to know that if you want to buy a CBD product, buy it from us. Buy it from a farmer here in the region. Why not? We can tell you that we've tested it. We can show you that we've done those tests for heavy metals. So those are some of the things that I think consumers should look for. Now, I have my own opinion about one other thing, and that's buy local. When I want to have some really good beer, I go to Junkyard in Moorhead, or I go to Fargo Brewing. When I want to have a really great product, I might go down to Unglued in Fargo and look for a product for a gift. So just like you are thinking about the food you're eating, the clothes you're buying, I hope that you consider always buying this locally. And also when you're at shops, thinking about, is this shop that I'm in, is this a local to my community? Is this a place where I can get some great education? I want to give a shout out to a place here in Fargo called Coda. And Vivian, the owner there, is very knowledgeable about CBD. She's local, and ask questions.
Great.
And
So
Coda.
so I'm guessing, so we can buy products from you. Can we buy products on your website?
You can. You can.
You can. And then what retail outlets have you? Like if we wanted to go buy this retail, where can we find Prairie Products?
So one thing that hit us like the rest of the world was our global pandemic. So we actually launched our retail products on our website on February 19th of this year. And then we had our first event in the beginning of March for Pride of Dakota. A few shops were very interested in holding our products, but after so many people had to experience closure, we've really slowed down. I hope that I can get that information to you in a couple more months, but quite frankly, a lot of our shop owners that were interested just needed to take a pause right now. So you can go to our website and support us, and we hope to be in some shops across North Dakota, but for right now, we're just holding on while other small businesses get their druthers.
Gotcha. Another question I had, Veronica, kind of shifting gears a little bit. You talk about your ethanol extraction process. Can you speak into that a little bit and maybe provide some context on what are the other extraction methods that are out there and what makes Prairie Products process different or better?
Yeah. So first off, cold ethanol is an alcohol extraction process, and humans have been using alcohol to extract botanicals for as long as we've probably been walking around the planet. So when we think of how we use our cold ethanol process, we thought it was a good option for us for a few reasons. One, cold ethanol is really efficient. It allows you to efficiently pull the cannabinoids in the process with a small amount of time. It's also really safe because you're chilling the ethanol. You don't really have worries about it flaming or explosion because you're really doing everything under a vacuum. So it's efficient process as far as the numbers for us, but it's safe for our staff. And the other thing that we thought was a huge caveat is we make ethanol in North Dakota. So we're able to source not only local biomass from hemp farmers, but we're able to source our ethanol locally also, which we think is really important. And those are some of the reasons that we chose cold ethanol. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, alcohol is a process that we've used throughout the history to extract botanicals. But when you look back at more research from Charlotte's Web research, the formulation that helped that child that I mentioned earlier reduce her seizure load per day, to other research that's been done either in South America or in Israel, alcohol extraction is typically the process that they're using and then testing that on. Now, there are other extraction processes though. Now, for people who often are in the organic market, they really like a CO2 extraction process. That's a little bit more volatile just in how you're using pressure. Another process is butane, also a little bit more volatile. For me, I just felt like in our team, like just a little bit more of a risk. So, but there are some other options. People also use a warm alcohol process or a room temperature alcohol process. I believe though that we're separating fats, lipids. I could go on and on, won't for you, but I think the cold ethanol process really produces a clean, really beautiful product.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. So you mentioned the Charlotte's Web story a couple times. For folks that aren't familiar with that, and I might be one of them, can you tell that story? What is the Charlotte's Web story, and how does that relate to CBD, the CBD industry?
Yeah, why I think that story is important is, I don't think if we turn the clock back 10 years, we would be talking to me right now if it wasn't for this little girl in the United States and her family wanting to reduce her level of seizures. We have looked at the cannabinoids for a long time as a drug. We haven't been able to differentiate the THC portion of the plant to the other portion of the plant. So what we really saw in this family that was searching for options in the early 90s to reduce their child's seizures was they started to use marijuana. And at the time, excuse me, that's how they would have talked about it, because they were sourcing a product illegally and then they were compounding it, kind of like what we do, but on a really little scale at home. And they were using that product then and giving it to their child. All of this really goes against what many of us thought about how ethics with medicine, children, using something that hasn't been proven or tested and my goodness, isn't legal. So that family not only boldly chose to do this, but they were open about it. They expressed this to their medical team. They talked about it openly in interviews because they saw how it changed her life. She was experiencing 100+ seizures a day and went down to almost nothing. She has since passed away, actually, sadly, just recently in the last couple months. I think Charlotte lived to, was it 13? 13. But for a little person, she was a pioneer, and her parents were. As a society, we struggle with pain, right? We struggle with pain management, but we also persecute people who have pain. And I hope that we are at a new point where Charlotte and her family's bravery, our new thinking around the United States about the medical efficacy of agricultural hemp and the cannabinoids, and really just thinking about how we can heal ourselves in a new way.
Yeah, so thank you. A quick question from John. Am I correct that there are discussions about trying to assemble some co-op production and or machinery sharing, perhaps via the North Dakota Hemp Association?
Absolutely, John. It is so nice to virtually see you. Thank you for asking that. Absolutely. So the North Dakota Hemp Association and Lauren, their fearless leader, have really been working hard on how can we help support this agricultural hemp economy and ecosystem with some machinery. Some of the things that we really could use, our farmers could use something to grind their hemp. We need them to be able to bring that hemp in a particle size that works for us. But not every farmer is able to either have the funds to do that or even take out a loan for that kind of capital. So machine sharing is something that they're discussing quite a bit. And I think that would be not only a great way for farmers to be supported by the North Dakota Hemp Association, but I think a really great way for non-farmers, people who care about hemp, to contribute to the association and know that those funds are being utilized for tools and machining that farmers really need.
Right. Lots of questions coming in online here, Veronica. So another one from Lily here. Does that make the seller of seeds liable if someone grows their seeds to plants that test over the allowed THC level? When we talk about destroying it all, they won't come with shackles, will they?
No, they won't come with shackles, Lily, but it feels like it because the bank might. Destroying your field is a huge financial heart attack. So I think that your question is great, Lily, because those sellers of seeds are not liable. There are very few seed sellers who have registered their seed in North Dakota. One is Davis Farms. just as a disclosure, Davis Farms owner, he does invest in our project. But we know Jeremy because he is a credible and amazing seed producer and does do the critical steps that need to be done per state. So farmers have some information about who this source is and then how they can kind of talk to them if something does go wrong. So you are also correct that if the plant does test hot in the field, which means hot means over that allowable THC, the farmer is required to destroy it on site. Most farms then are burning that field.
That relates to a question we missed earlier from Pedro, but there are many companies that sell CBD products, but many cannot ensure that it has the approved THC content. Is that a concern for your products to get a wider base to sell? Great
question. So yes, you are exactly right. Many companies have products out there and they can't insure. So we have COAs in all of our products. We also chose to put out 2 products that are THC free. And that means that they are in the allowable levels of THC, that they're non-detectable. Why we think that's important is, one, there's a lot of people who want to try the cannabinoids, but they're not interested in THC. It's not something that maybe sits well with their heart or within their ethics, or maybe they're in the medical field, maybe they're in oil and gas, they can't use that product. So we wanted to give some variety and opportunity for the consumer to try out what can a THC-free Farm Bill legal product do for me, and what could a Farm Bill legal full broad spectrum product do for me.
So the question I have, Veronica, is I think it's especially relevant to small business owners and any entrepreneur right now of being in this very uncertain environment. Now, Prairie Products has been in a regulatory uncertain environment from your inception. What are some of the most important or valuable lessons you've learned in terms of how you move forward, how you shape your messaging? Just how is that? What have you learned from that experience of navigating with this uncertain environment you're in?
Thank you. You know, I think, like you said, you know, hemp is like an uncertain environment all the time. So it's kind of a crazy train. But I also think this time of COVID means for a lot of us, you know, we have big dreams, right? We have dreams, we have plans that we've laid out by quarter, by year, 5 years from now. And sometimes it feels like now it's every 5 days for every 5 days or every 7 days, right? Like every week is, I feel honored that we got through it. I feel really happy to be working. We were one of the companies here in North Dakota that were able to secure PPP funds. So we've been working hard to finish the products from farmers that we have here in the shop. But I have to say, I think it's been a very big challenge of really trying to focus on what does this 7-day period look like? How can we do our best this 7 days, but also still have a good grasp on 8 weeks, 6 months, a year. But for all of us, it's really, really closing in, I think, to be, what does this week look like?
Gotcha. So I know the first question I asked had to do with your supply chain and your market. Where is your bigger challenge, do you think, Veronica? Is it establishing the market and capturing the market, or is it securing a supply chain? Like right now, do you have inventory sitting on your shelf that you need to sell, or can you get it out the door as fast as you can find product and process it?
Nope, right now we have inventory on the shelf waiting to sell. So definitely looking to how do we get connected to the right people that want the right volume that we're looking at, you know, and not just maybe some smaller spot buy. So it is definitely that volume, and we have inventory. So yeah, any support that people want to offer in introducing us to partnerships, knowing people that they know are making a product, that's really important for us. You know, we have been lucky to become that Pride of Dakota network folks so that we can integrate with them for people who are making some interesting products in North Dakota, but we are definitely looking for those markets outside of the state.
Gotcha. So just a follow-up question to that is there's several different products that come out of this extraction process, right? Which product has the highest demand, and which ones are the toughest to sell? So
right now, the product that has some of the highest demand is THC-free distillate. People are really liking that full, broad spectrum feeling, but wanting that something that's THC free. So we worked with a partner to produce something like that. The product, though, that we make and we want to push out the door is crude. And why that's important to us, and we feel that market will bounce back and be strong, is there's a variety of products that can be made from a crude cannabinoid product. And I'm a betting woman, so I believe that we'll see the FDA regulate the isolate market very differently over the next 12 to 24 months. And that will make our crude product hopefully even more valuable.
Right. So question from Ross, does the product on the shelf have an expiration?
So there's lots of debate about that. We actually have a couple professors from NDSU that are wonderful, and they are waiting to do that exact test for us. People in the marketplace say that the shelf life is 1 to 2 years, but I haven't seen studies, and I'd like to see our crude product, our raw hemp biomass studied like every other commodity. So right now, that 1 to 2 years, which by the way is a huge gap. I mean, that's like saying you could eat this apple today or next year. So it's a pretty big gap. So we want to see our crude get out there and get into a product quickly. One of the things we do know is when you're processing a fresh product, you're able to collect more of the terpenes, more of those natural aromas that are present in the plant. So I suspect as terpenes degrade, there might be some degradation of the crude. The USDA has limited many researchers' ability to test hemp or any hemp-derived products. So people at NDSU right now cannot work on hemp products for research, which is a shame because we have a wonderful agricultural research facility in our whole state, actually, and we should be capitalizing on being able to know more of that.
So you mentioned the crude that you see a real opportunity, and who would be the buyers of that, and how would they use it?
Yep. So people who are buying crude are really buying it to put it into their products, maybe a tincture, a topical, maybe some other form of a product. Crude can be formulated with a very good formulator into a lot of great options before you need to even use a distillate or an isolated form of the compound. But a lot of times when people are using a tincture, they're actually consuming the raw crude with another kind of carrier oil combined with it.
Sure. Okay, so interesting. So we're finding Prairie Products in Bismarck Mandan, then, whether that's a Prairie Product branded product or a value-added producer who's using your crude to put in their products. Where can we find Prairie Products in Bismarck Mandan?
Well, we have been working with a business in Bismarck to see if we can get into their shops. We haven't made that totally happen yet, but we're really working on it. So for right now, Bismarck Mandan folks, if you could go online to www.prairieproductsnd.com, we'd love you to buy there, but we are hoping to make it more convenient for you and to have someone selling right in your community.
Cool. Thank you. So I think that brings us to the last question of the morning, Veronica. So I think you're familiar with the 1 Million Cups platform. You knew this one was coming. How can our 1 Million Cups community here in Bismarck and Mandan best support you and Prairie Products?
So thank you. I love this question. So I am going to go back to what John talked about. You know, one of the best ways to support Prairie Products now is to help farmers grind the material to the specification needed. Now, I could go on and on about how this impacts our efficiency, people's bodies, but we are touching this hemp product. We're careful with it. It's as precious to the farmer as it is to us, and we really could use people who have farms and equipment that maybe that's a grinder that they've used in the past to separate flax. Maybe that's a 3-part grinder that separates maybe seeds from some of the other biomaterial from soybeans. I think there's a lot of farms in North Dakota that have some equipment. I hope you can reach out to myself or to Lauren at the North Dakota Hemp Association and talk to us about making a donation of what you have. The other thing is joining the North Dakota Hemp Association. When more people across the state who are passionate about hemp and hemp making a revolution in our country in many areas, not just for medicine, but for fiber and textiles, I would hope that you will reach out join and become a member of the North Dakota Hemp Association so that we can raise funds as an association to help support farmers, to ultimately help support us.
Awesome.
Oh, and of course, buy our stuff. Thanks, Heather. I feel like I said that a few too many times, but yeah, buy our stuff, please. That really, really helps.
Yes.
Well, Veronica, thank you for your time this morning and for sharing your insight about your business and the hemp and CBD industry with us. Let's give Veronica a warm 1 Million Cups round of applause. Really appreciate the time this morning, Veronica. Thank you.
Thank you. This was awesome, Tyler. This is a really cool format. I like this.
Well, yeah.
I like being able to be at Heather's house, have coffee, you know.
Oh yeah, no, it's cheers. And big thanks to our tech team at 1 Million Cups. We have Adam Kampanik and Jaden Van Eckhout who help us on the tech side. This morning we have Kate Herzog from the Bismarck Downtowners handling the back end of this. So yeah, we have a lot of support, which is great. But so yeah, that's all we have for you this week. If you are interested in presenting at 1 Million Cups, please go to 1millioncupscom/present. Next week, we will have Scott McCarthy with Your Dakota digging into his new website and that concept. And we hope to be back in our Dakota Stage Theater soon. So please follow our Facebook page, 1 Million Cups Bismarck and Mandan, waiting for that announcement. Lot of uncertainty right now, lot of need for community. In all this uncertainty, there's one thing I can say with absolute confidence, and that's I miss our 1 Million Cups community, and I'm hoping to see you all face to face very soon. From us at the 1 Million Cups organizers team, we're going to try to make that as safely and as quickly, make that happen as safely and as quickly as we can. So that's it. Everybody have a great rest of the week, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.